ये सोचते हैं कि दुनिया का सबसे बेस्ट डिसीजन इनके लिए साधु बनना है। 10 साल की उम्र में जब लोग कोई फॉरेन ट्रिप्स के लिए जाते थे, आपने कोई और ही चॉइस किया। क्या था वो चॉइस?
मेरा मार्ग ही अलग है।
17 years of age, you're the only son for your parents. प्रणाम, मैं हूँ राहुल कपूर जैन। मैं एक मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर हूँ, बैंगलोर से आता हूँ, मगर आज मैं मुंबई में हूँ। मेरे साथ है एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग यंग पर्सनालिटी। नाम इनका है भव्य, है मुंबई से और गुजरात में मोरबी से है। ही स्टडीड एट द सोमाया स्कूल, बट टुडे वी आर हियर इन कन्वर्सेशन विद हिम बिकॉज unlike other youngsters who wish to develop their career, maybe get married, achieve their dreams, his dream is to do none of this. ये सोचते हैं कि दुनिया का सबसे बेस्ट डिसीजन इनके लिए साधु बनना है। भव्य, वेलकम टू द शो एंड टेल अस अ लिटिल अबाउट योरसेल्फ।
Firstly, thank you, Rahul ji. It is a pleasure you taking my podcast interview. It's great. Hi, I'm Bhavya Shah. I'm from Mumbai. As he told, मैं बाकी लोगों से बहुत अलग सोचता हूँ। मैं इन सारे करियर में नहीं मानता, इन सबको मैं सक्सेसफुल होना नहीं मानता। मेरी खुद की पर्सनालिटी है, मैं एक साधु बनना चाहता हूँ। आई वॉन्ट टू रिनाउंस द मटीरियलिस्टिक वर्ल्ड एंड एक्सेप्ट मॉन्कहुड। एक जैन साधु बनना चाहता हूँ।
Interesting. You're 17 years of age and you're almost thinking like a very matured, wise person. Tell us a little about your childhood and how did this transformation about a career choice to become a monk even occur to you?
My childhood was pretty different from whom I am now. मेरे childhood में I was counted as the most notorious child of my school.
You still look like one.
मैंने स्कूल में अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ बहुत मस्तियाँ की. I played sports. Badminton, cricket and basketball have been my favorite sports. Chess, I learned from my dad, who's a very good player. Just a normal childhood like other children do have. I always got what I demanded from my parents, never a no from their mouths. As I'm the only children to them, मुझे जो मांगा तब मिला है, and I'm blessed.
So, as a young boy, being fun-loving, sports, how were you in education? जब पढ़ाई करते थे तो मन लगता था स्कूल में?
पढ़ाई इनिशियल ईयर्स में मन नहीं होता था, मज़ा नहीं आता था, टीचर क्या बोलती है कुछ समझ नहीं आता था. It was like, why am I here? But as age started growing up, I started getting matured. समझ आने लगा कि टीचर क्या बोल रही है, ग्रास्प करने लगा, मज़ा आने लगा, and that's when I was like, yeah, this is something I can go with, and then I started studying.
So interesting. You know, when you're in education, when you're in school, just like others, you want to go to the school, enjoy your summer breaks and all of that. But मुझे सुनने में आया कि 10 साल की उम्र में जब लोग कोई फॉरेन ट्रिप्स के लिए जाते थे, आपने कोई और ही चॉइस किया। क्या था वो चॉइस?
Ubdhan, a religious course termed as Ubdhan. It is nothing but living like a monk for 47 days. जैन साधु की तरह रहना, क्रिया करना, ध्यान करना, तप करना. And that's what I chose at the age of 10.
At the age of 10?
Yeah.
How did you make this choice?
Initially, my parents forced me for it. उन्होंने मुझे मोटिवेशन तो दिया ही, बट एक पॉइंट इन टाइम मुझे फोर्स किया कि उपधान करना चाहिए, तू कर, मन ना लगे देन यू कम बैक. बट वंस आई एंटर्ड, जब मैंने प्रवेश किया, स्टार्टिंग के 3-4 डेज इट वाज लाइक completely different from my life. No AC, no luxury, no comfort, nothing. But जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ता गया, I started enjoying the days. I started enjoying what I was doing at that point in time. तब मुझे लगा कि ये करने जैसा है.
Like, क्या होती थी आपकी दिनचर्या?
दिनचर्या सुबह जल्दी उठना, क्रिया करना.
जल्दी यानी?
4:35.
That's जल्दी, वो तो बहुत जल्दी उठना.
It's too early. ब्रह्म मुहूर्त, जल्दी उठना, क्रिया करना, प्रतिक्रमण करना, पड़िलेहन वगैरह करना, जैना पालन करना, इरियासन।
What do you mean by saying Jaina Palan?
जैना पालन इज दैट हर एक छोटे बड़े जीव की रक्षा करना. Every living being on this earth has the right to live and ensure that they are safe. So that is जैना पालन. जैना पालन करना, तप करना, साहिब जी के पास, गुरु जी के पास.
तब मतलब कैसा तप होता था?
एक दिन उपवास, एक दिन एकाशना. एकाशना मतलब एक बार खाना और उपवास मतलब खाना ही नहीं. एक दिन उपवास, एक दिन एकाशना, alternate.
47 days you did
47
that at the
days.
age of 10 years.
Yes.
And most of your friends perhaps could have said, are you crazy?
2 of my friends were also crazy because they also joined me.
Really?
But yeah, at that point in time, I had 3 to 4 groups of friends. One of the groups always motivated me till now, and now also they do.
So going back to your the Ubdhan day process, so apart from all of this, what else would happen? I mean, would you read your school content? Would you get access to TV, mobile phones, newspapers, any of that?
So Ubdhan is nothing but a complete detachment from the worldly life you live. जो आप नॉर्मल लाइफ में जीते हो, जिस तरह जीते हो, यू हैव गैजेट्स, यू हैव टीवी, मोबाइल्स, आईफोन्स एक्सेट्रा, उन सब से एक डिटैचमेंट. नो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, नो बेड्स, नो लग्जरी, नो कंफर्ट. एक साधु की तरह रहना. जैन साधु जैसा जीवन जीता है ऐसा जीवन जीना.
So wasn't it tough?
Externally, from the perspective of my body, for sure it was physically very tough for me. But internally मुझे मज़ा आने लगा.
You mean say आनंद?
आनंद. Initially days बहुत difficult भी लगा, but जैसे जैसे कोई भी सिचुएशन में नॉर्मल पर्सन को अडेप्ट होने को 4 to 5 days लगते हैं. जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ता गया, अडेप्ट होते गया, I started enjoying. आनंद आने लगा.
इसमें what is there to enjoy? I mean, there's like, how do you define enjoyment? Like, मैं टीवी देख रहा हूँ, क्रिकेट मैच चल रहा है, हम जीत रहे, तो मैं I can enjoy. या फिर मैं कोई मूवी देख रहा हूँ और एक हीरो जीत रहा है और he is doing well, I can enjoy. इसमें क्या enjoyment?
I'll give you a very good example that connects with you. विपासना कोर्स, 10 days का विपासना कोर्स आप एवरी ईयर जाते हैं. फर्स्ट 2 days डिफिकल्ट लगता होगा अपनी नॉर्मल लाइफ से. 10 days की वो ऐसी लाइफ जिधर किसी से बात नहीं करना, मौन रखना, गैजेट्स यूज़ नहीं करने हैं, एक अलग एनवायरनमेंट में रहना है, मेडिटेशन करना है. फर्स्ट 2 days बहुत डिफिकल्ट लगता होगा, सेट नहीं होता होगा. बट व्हेन यू कम आउट ऑन द 11th day अर्ली मॉर्निंग, यू फील सो फ्रेश, सो काम. तो उसमें आपको मज़ा आता था. आप क्रिकेट नहीं देख रहे थे, ये नहीं कर रहे थे, बट यू आर एंजॉयिंग. इट्स द सेम.
And it's beautiful.
सेम
Answer तो actually आपको देना था, मगर आपने मुझे ऐसी सिचुएशन में डाल दिया कि मैं खुद ही अपना आंसर दे दूँ. It is, especially for those people who haven't had a insight into the spiritual world yet. It may be difficult for you to understand what the two of us are speaking about. Maybe आपने क्रिया से उस आनंद को पाने की कोशिश की, मैंने भीतर की क्रिया को, बट आपकी बाहर की क्रिया जब आपको भीतर लेके गई और मेरी भीतर की क्रिया जब मुझे भीतर लेके गई, इवेंचुअली वी ऑल हैव द सेम एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ ब्लिस. एंड इट टुक मी 36 years to even make an entry into that world in a different way, of course. You did that at 10 years of age.
It was all my देव गुरु's कृपा. साहिब जी भगवान के आशीर्वाद से आज मैं यहाँ हूँ. मेरे मॉम डैड ऑलवेज सपोर्टेड मी, एंड दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम मैं अब वही कहूँगा कि आई एम ग्रेटफुल फॉर देम कि उन्होंने मुझे फोर्स किया उपधान में बैठने के लिए. आई अग्री, इनिशियली 4 days were difficult, but then it was a complete bliss.
It's interesting. You've used the word, I mean, you've referred to your parents many times in this conversation. You refer to your guru. We will definitely speak about each one of these people who have massively influenced your life. Let's start with your parents itself first. So as Ubdhan was the first turning point, as you mentioned to me, what was the role that your parents played at that age with these decisions? Did they not, like other parents, wanted to become a doctor or an engineer or anything like that?
My dad, Nirmal Shah, he himself is a chartered accountant. He always wanted me to become a chartered accountant like him. My mom, Riddhi Shah, a fashion designer. She used to always see stylish and creativeness in me, and she wanted me to become a model or a fashion designer. My grandmother, who saw a doctor into me, but that point in time when I realized that I am not for any of these. मेरा मार्ग ही कुछ और अलग है, मेरा मार्ग ही अलग है. मैं जिसे करियर मानता हूँ उसे शायद कोई करियर के रूप में ना भी देखे, पर एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम मेरे मॉम डैड, मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मुझे बहुत सपोर्ट किया. मुझे हमेशा एकेडमिक्स के ऊपर धर्म को रखा. मुझे जब भी कुछ धर्म का कार्य करने की इच्छा होती थी, मुझे प्रेरणा की, मुझे आगे बढ़ाया. सो इट्स ऑल देयर हेल्प, ऑल देयर सपोर्ट कि मैं आज यहाँ हूँ.
You know, talking about this, I mean, it's really interesting कि आपके parents ने वो vision को ना सिर्फ देखा मगर उस vision को practically apply करने के लिए भी आपको inspire किया. I understand that your dad was working in the Middle East somewhere and then he chose to shift back into India. Tell us a little about that.
5 years my dad worked in Middle East and then he moved back to India for some certain reasons,
And the reason was?
the reason was particularly my education, better lifestyle, not in place of money, not in place of tax, but better lifestyle for all of us, for all our family. धर्म के point of view से इंडिया अपने roots से जुड़े रहने के लिए, and that decision, थोड़े साल तो मैं उनके डिसीजन को बहुत कर्स करता था. Why did you come back? What is there in this country? क्या है उधर, तो इतना अच्छे अच्छे रोड्स थे, जीरो टैक्स था, इतना पैसा था. Then why did you come back? बट जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ता गया, आई एम ब्लेसफुल एंड थैंकफुल टू देयर डिसीजन कि उन्होंने चुना वापस आना. इसीलिए मैं आज इस मार्ग पर चल पाया.
It's interesting. What I hear from you is you're saying that not only did your dad make a decision to shift back into this country, but also the fact that he had a better job there, he earned more money there, but for your betterment, for your future, for your life's goal, perhaps he even wanted to shape that goal and he made a decision to shift back into India because he wanted you to be closer to Dharma. This is an interesting thought. And to all the people who are watching this podcast, especially parents, we play a significant role in shaping the thoughts of our children, don't we? But at what point in time do we actually say, this is it and I can't go beyond? I think what you're telling me about your parents is that they had no boundaries, they had no limits, they just wanted to do everything possible for you.
Sure.
That's amazing.
And I guess every parent will always think about their children instead of them. And same ways, मेरे पेरेंट्स ने भी वही किया.
But you know, Bobby, I'm a parent too, and you know, like most parents, we want our children to have good education, study well, develop good virtues. I mean, I don't visualize, for example, like most of the parents, I don't visualize my children to take Diksha, but at the same time, I don't believe that the world is so bad. I believe they can still practice good virtues, they can still be closer to the soul, they can go for various kind of meditations, they can just be good human beings. Isn't that good enough?
For every parent, I don't think कि ये डिसीजन सबके लिए लेना इजी है और सब इस डिसीजन को एज करियर सोचते हैं अपने चिल्ड्रंस के लिए, अपने बच्चों के लिए. एंड एज यू सेड कि द वर्ल्ड इज इन दैट बैड, यू ऑल्सो नो एंड आई ऑल्सो नो so many breakups, so many divorce, so many bad things happening. But yeah, I agree. The parents who give their children the best upbringing cannot get influenced by these things. But the time इतना बुरा है, इतना ख़राब टाइम है कि किसी का भी पतन हो सकता है, कोई भी किसी भी मैनर में गिर सकता है और नहीं करने वाली चीज़ें भी हो सकती है.
But that's a part of life. I mean, that's how you're supposed to experience life. What's wrong in it?
Okay, so I'll give you a very good example. The society says that doing a murder is not acceptable. Then do we say that by committing a murder, are we experiencing anything? No, right? It's just the same way, which is termed wrong into the society. It is wrong, and we cannot make it right, or we cannot explain it as an experience. As in the same way, मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मेरे लिए जो फ्यूचर चुना या मैंने खुद ने मेरे लिए जो फ्यूचर चुना, वो बहुत ब्राइट है, लोगों की भले समझ से ऊपर है, पर एक्चुअली रियल एटर्नल हैप्पीनेस, ट्रू हैप्पीनेस उसमें ही है.
See, let's talk. You're 17 years of age. You went for Ubdan at 10 years of age. Your parents have influenced you, shaped your thinking. So have your gurus. You know, now you're 17. But I understand there was a second transformation that took place at 15. Tell us a little about that before I can ask you my follow-up question.
At the age of 15, with my guru, परम पूज्य आचार्य भगवान श्री अरिहंत सागर सुरीश्वर जी, परम पूज्य गच्छाधिपति आचार्य देव श्रीमद विजय युगभूषण सुरीश्वर जी महाराज साहब, I walked down with Acharya Bhagwant from Pune to Bangalore, around a walk of 1,000 kilometers. शास्त्रीय भाषा में उसे विहार कहते हैं. The people who don't know what vihar is, it is something, it is a process that is followed by Jain monk. It is, they don't use electricity, they don't use vehicles, and उसमें एक जगह से दूसरी जगह चल के जाना रहता है. चलना every day, थोड़ा थोड़ा चलना, and taking stops and reaching to the destination, all by Jaina, all by Iriya Samiti, saving each and every living being possible.
What about food?
Food. Jain monk don't make food or don't cook food. They instead go for bhiksha. सुना ही होगा सबको, भिक्षा तो पता ही होगी. They go and ask food from homes. घरों में जाना, भोजन मांगना, वही जैन साधुओं की आचार है. And that's how it is.
तो गोचरी कभी मिलती भी होगी, नहीं भी मिलती होगी?
नहीं मिलती है तब अपवाद रूप में किसी बड़े सिटी से जो किलोमीटर की रेंज में हो, वहाँ से टिफ़िन आया जाता है. That is अपवाद. अपवाद इज एक्सेप्शन. वो नॉर्मल कोर्स में जैन मंक्स नहीं कर सकते. किसी के घर से किसी के लिए स्पेशली टिफ़िन मंगवाना इज़ रॉन्ग अनलेस इट इज़ फॉर हेल्थ और समथिंग. इसीलिए अपवाद, एक्सेप्शन है ये. जब विहार में कुछ वापरने के लिए ना मिले, जिसकी शक्ति हो, भगवान तो कहते ही है कि उपवास करो, पर ना हो सके तो ऐसे सल्यूशन लाया जाता है.
So when you were going through all of this, how many days did it take you?
It took me nearly 4 months, but walking period was 2 months, and we also stayed at big cities, big hubs.
So didn't you get tired and say, okay, let's get back home?
So when I compare my original lifestyle from the lifestyle I lived with Sahib Ji, completely different. At home, I got what I wanted. सारी लग्जरी मिली, सारे सुख, सारे कंफर्ट मिले, एसी मिला, बेड पे सोने मिला, हर एक वो चीज़ मिली जो मैंने मांगी. फ्रॉम एक्सपेंसिव वॉचेस टू एक्सपेंसिव वॉलेट्स टू ईच एंड एवरी एक्सक्लूसिव ब्रांड आई यूज्ड. I experienced happiness, but that happiness was just for moments. Now, I bought a LV wallet for myself.
You did.
Yeah, I got happy. I did get very excited. That excitement lasted 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, but then it got decreased.
So the what do you call the law of what was that called? The law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, perfect.
So you kind of feel happy, but then the happiness is fades
Yeah,
away.
but when I was with Sahib Ji, I woke up, start walking, barefooted, walking 15 to 20 kilometers a day with so much luggage on a back. But in that point in time also, I was feeling happy. I was feeling joyful, and that joy is something which wasn't temporary, it was permanent. मुझे इतना सुख महसूस हो रहा था कि ऐसा लग रहा था कि भले लग्जरी नाम मिलती हो, नंगे पाँव चल रहा हूँ, पर जो हैप्पीनेस है वो शायद LV वॉलेट में भी ना मिला हो, कार्टियर वॉचेस में भी ना मिला हो, nothing.
It's amazing. Like you've seen both sides of the world, and you've seen
Perfect.
both sides of happiness. One that comes and fades away, one that comes and grows. And I think only through experience of a self that you can describe this. Maybe sometimes with words, maybe may not be words, with words also. चलो ठीक है, I agree that you had all these experiences, but you were just 15 then, you're 17 now. Your brain is not fully developed. Even science says that until 21, not all elements of your brain are totally developed. Decision making is always a big thing, and it happens over a period of time. Now you can make decisions about clothes and watches and go right and wrong, but this is all about your life. So, do you think at 17 you're really capable to make this decision? Is it right for a young person like you, because you will be setting, a kind of a trend for others, and a lot of parents might be worried about the decision you're making at 17 when you're not yet fully mature.
As you said, that science says that the part of the brain gets matured at the age of 21. I do agree with science in some point, but this is something that I don't agree with. हमारे भगवान ने अपने शास्त्रों में मेंशन किया है, बुक्स में कहा है, महात्माओं ने, साहिब जी ने व्याख्यानों में बताया है that as per our religious books, scriptures, at the age of 8, a person is mature enough physically, mentally, with an understanding to accept monkhood. Not forcibly, with an understanding he is completely fit and fine to accept monkhood. And 8, and I am now already 7 years late. I am at the age of 17. Going ahead, we have so many examples of young children at the age of 12, 13. They have already built companies of 100 CR. Are you still?
That's an interesting one.
And this generation is pretty fast, can make pretty decisions at a very young age.
So let me ask you, is this a decision that's been made for you by your parents and by your guru? Is it some form of a external influence, or is it really something which you believe in?
I would always say that my parents and my guru always motivated me for this path, but they never forced their decision on me, and I am a person who always listens to who I am. I always listen to myself. मैं किसी और की सुनने में नहीं मानता, खुद की सुनने में मानता हूँ जब मुझे अंदर से वो इंस्टेंस आता है. और this decision is something that is only made by myself. Yeah, I always agree that my parents and my guru were my biggest support in this path. But yeah, the decision is solemnly made by me.
Tell us, I mean, for those people who don't understand this all that well, you can't just one day walk up to a guru and say, I want to take Diksha. I mean, there must be some kind of a process, some kind of a training period. And what happens in this time?
There's a huge process, as you mentioned. People getting degrees, CA, doctor, etc. have a process, have a time period of studying, giving exam, passing up levels. As this also has particular process. हमको साहिब जी के पास under training, जब तक साहिब जी ना बोले that we are completely ready, तब तक रहना है. Some are lucky enough to get ready in a month, and some are even lucky enough to get ready in 5 years.
Like, what do you do when you're with Guru?
I study our Jain scriptures.
Like what?
Books. We have plenty of Jain books.
What kind of subjects do you do?
We have Vairagya Shatak, we have Gyan Sar, we have Upamiti, we have Vai Diksha, etc. Many subjects. I guess time is less to describe the subject, but the subjects are too much.
So you actually read Shastras in guidance of a Guru?
Yeah, in the guidance of my Guru, obviously.
And you just by heart them, or you understand what's there?
It's both ways. You can do both ways. I particularly understood them. Some of the particular shloks that I really loved, I did by heart them, but understanding was something I like more.
You know, I'm able to understand what's going on in your mind in terms of the fact that I mean, when I speak to you and I see your flow and the confidence with which you're speaking, it seems like you've thought through this pretty well. But for the understanding of a common young man or young girl who's watching this, you know, we equate Jain Sadhu's life to a very tough life, externally, of course. I know you've already done 2.5 months of walking and you've spent time doing Updan and all of that. Does this in any way come in your way that things may be tough and it may not be a good choice for you?
I always do think that things are going to be tough for me, but it's always external, physically. I never thought of stepping back But yeah, I still feel that externally it is physically, externally tough. And that is something tough for physical, tough for the body, but very peaceful, very blissful for my soul, for my inner peace. As you said, the 10 days of the Vipassana course touched you. It helped you grow in life. It helped you how to speak, how to build your confidence, each and everything. It's the same way. It's just two different paths. But the same way, I believe that physically it is tough, but it always helps me.
It's interesting. I'm thinking that if I was a young boy or girl who's watching this podcast, and if I had to create a set of questions, what would appear in my brain? Like you spoke about your sporting interest, and you spoke about cricket, and sometime back you were telling me that Virat Kohli was your favorite cricketer. So why didn't you look at choosing any one of these careers and yet continue practicing a spiritual life?
Any career you choose is going to last max to max 40 to 50 years, I guess. But this career is something that will obviously last in this life forever, and I'll also carry values, gnan, virtues ahead in my future lives. And this is something other careers don't provide me. इसीलिए ये career choose करना मेरा preference था.
It's interesting. I mean, जो आप कह रहे हो वो it also has a deep insight about the way Jains look at life. It's not just this life, it's life after life. So bhav का कल्याण करना है तो शायद a decision like this is going to come your way. That's pretty interesting that you said that. Tell me about Guru. I mean, how did you go about making a choice of your Guru?
My Guru is someone who I adore a lot, who I respect a lot. ऐसे तो शास्त्र में जैन स्क्रिप्चर्स में लिखा जाता है कि you should take 12 years of your life finding a true Guru for yourself and then do as your Guru says. No questioning, no nothing, no doubting. Just follow him. But I am lucky enough. The place where I stay, Pashwatilak Shwetambar Murti Pujak Tapagat Jain Sangh, the Sangh in which I stay, had already served me the ready plate. I got the very best Guru, Param Pujya Gachadipati Acharya Deve Srimad Vijay Yug Bhushan Surishwar ji. He is someone who I get inspired with a lot. उन्होंने अपने जीवन में ऐसे ऐसे बड़े कार्य किए हैं, तीर्थ रक्षा, शासन रक्षा, धर्म रक्षा, ज्ञान, ध्यान, बहुत सारे ऐसे कार्य जिन्होंने मुझे ऑलवेज मोटिवेट किया है. उनके पहले शिष्य परम पूज्य आचार्य श्री अरिहंत सागर सुरीश्वर जी महाराज साहब, हु इज समवन हु इज माय पर्सनल गुरु. उन्होंने अपने अंदर की जो ज्ञान शैली, वात्सल्य शैली, he doesn't only see his disciple, but he treats his disciple like his son.
Wow.
Every night when I walk down in the vihar, I get tired. I'm not used to of that life. Every night he comes to me, asks me any problems you face, any hardships you are facing, anything you need. He always looked after each and every necessity of mine. And that is what I adore about him.
That's amazing. So it's like you're gonna be leaving parents at home to be with a guru parent, if I can use that terminology, to be with him. Let's kind of keep this conversation going around that. As you're preparing for a life with a guru there, you're the only son for your parents. Aren't they concerned? Aren't they worried? Are you not worried about what's going to happen to them when they grow old? Aren't they worried about what's going to happen to you if you go away from home?
Firstly, I would say I am absolutely leaving my home, but the home I'm leaving is physical. And after a couple of years, after meditation or after a sadhana of couple of years, I'm going to build a home inside me that would completely be my home, my personal space where I would keep my knowledge, keep my gyan, keep my experience. And that home would be something very, very touchful, very, very close to myself. As you said that my parents won't be worried about me, I won't be worried about them. I will obviously be worried about them, but at this point in time मैं उनके शरीर की चिंता नहीं करूँगा, मैं उनके आत्मा की चिंता करूँगा. As you said, this life Nirmal Shah is my father. Next life might you be his son or he might be your son. It can be anything. Only in this birth वो मेरे पापा है, पर उनका आत्मा, his soul is obviously going to be. Hence मैं उनके शरीर की चिंता नहीं करूँगा, बट मैं उनके आत्मा की चिंता करूँगा. मैं तो उन्हें भी वही कहूँगा कि जल्दी से जल्दी धर्म में आगे बढ़ें, अपना आत्म कल्याण करें. And every person here, I would pass the same message on.
Brilliant. You know, looking at you where you speak, sometime back you said that, your mom said that you could be like a model.
Yeah.
Maybe this itself is another way of looking at how to be not just a model but a role model. So it's very exciting at 17 years, the way you're presenting your thoughts and the maturity with which you're thinking, the clarity of thoughts is outstanding as well. Let me ask you about for all those young people who are listening to this podcast, if you were to give them a message, like your core message, what is it that you would tell them? Like there are 10 years old of people who are watching this, 15, 20, 30. What's your core message for each of these people?
The core message is something that always keep a goal in your life. You yourself are enough mature to decide whether the goal you keep is right or wrong for yourself. That is something you have to decide, and always keep a goal that gives you eternal happiness, true happiness, not the happiness that is temporary. A very good example that came into my mind, when I'm pretty hungry, I see a huge plate of rasgulla in front of me, my favorite sweet. The first rasgulla I keep in my mouth, so refreshing, so juiceful. I feel like having it. But the amount of happiness the first rasgulla gave me, after the 10th rasgulla, I wouldn't feel like having it. And that's what is temporary happiness. It's just that keep your goal in a way that the happiness is not temporary, but it's a permanent happiness. As back then I gave an example, waking up at 3:30, walking 15 kilometers, barefooted, that gave me real happiness. Externally it was super tough. There were stones picking into my feet. I was tired walking 15 kilometers, but the happiness I got, that is something permanent happiness. So do search for a goal, do ensure that you have a goal. That gives you permanent happiness.
Interesting. And since you just spoke about walking and stones pricking, I did hear that once you had some problem, there was a stone that kind of got stuck and you were not able to. Tell me a little about that. What exactly was that?
Exactly, the situation was something like we were on a walk, we were traveling from one place to another, and the next half an hour it was normal. At 5 I had a piece of, not a stone, I would say patra, a piece of metal that straight went into my leg, and at that point in time I started bleeding. It was very difficult for me. Sahib Ji, my guru, was like, you can use the car if you need, you have already got hurt. But I always had a conviction. I am a person who is very strong-headed, and once something that I decide that I am going to accomplish this at any cost, I do accomplish and then leave it. And exactly it was, I always decided that the thing I'll do, the vihar I'll do, I'll always do it walking. I'll not use any car or anything, any travel things. And the same way, I kept bleeding, but I did the medication over there at the road, and then I started walking.
Wow, this is like such an inspiring story. So basically what I understand from this entire conversation is that you've gone through your hardships, you've gone through the difficulties, but every single time you've seen a side of that hardship from a perspective that most people would not see. which is looking for internal happiness, which is for looking for happiness that comes and keeps growing and not diminishes. That, I think, is the highlight of this conversation from my point of view. Not everybody gets so lucky to experience such things, and then when you do, not everybody gets so mature to actually look at the brighter side of life, and not just for today but for future. This is tremendous. 17 years of age, you have decided that Diksha is the way for you. On behalf of everybody who's watching this podcast, I'd like to wish you good luck. Mangal Shubhkamnaएं. We will be wrapping this podcast soon, but let's say if I were to just reverse a few things. If in this podcast you were to ask 2 or 3 questions either to me or to the audience and seek answers for that, what questions would you ask?
What actually do you seek in life? What is success in your terms?
I just told him that he can ask me questions. I did not promise that I will give him the answers, but it's a good thing, Bhavya. I think this is a good way to end this podcast, that we leave people to think for themselves, that what are they really seeking in this one life. I think if people get answers to these questions that you just asked in terms of success and in terms of clarity of life, I think you would have not just done a good job of sharing your thoughts with us, but also leaving people with true, deep inspiration. It's been an absolute joy talking to you today, and I'm going to wish you all the best. First, this way, and the second, such a pleasure.
It was a great pleasure. I am also too helpful. You helped me, and it was great having a discussion, having a debateful discussion with you. It was great. I hope all the questions you had in your mind were completed or were answered by me.
I must tell you, I've interviewed many people of all age groups. You're one of the youngest ones that I've interviewed, but you did a fabulous job. You're speaking to someone who's 50 years of age, and when you were speaking, your confidence was just so clear. I think that's not just your internal preparation, but I think it's also the blessings of your parents and gurus that has got you to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure each one of you will agree with me that this was a very inspiring talk. This young boy, this young man, this young personality has inspired all of us to relook at our own lives and make choices that really matters. Choices not just for today, but choices for the future. Not just for this life, but for lives thereafter. Not just for ourselves, but our family, and not just for family, our society as well. I think what we really need in today's world is someone who can show us the path, and youngsters like Bhavya who are taking this decision to renounce the world to seek true happiness. Imagine what will happen when they grow 15, 20 years into the spiritual life, in the spiritual world. They will not just be an inspiration for us to look up to for ourselves, but also perhaps people who will guide us through on how to live in this world and how to promote the concept of Panch Mahavrat, which is Ahimsa, Satya, Achaurya, Aparigraha and Brahmacharya. To be able to live with these 5 Mahavrats or Mahavalues or great vows as they call them, I think this will not just help us to build a good society, but also to build a good world, a world where there's so much violence of all sorts. I think we will be able to bring in some kind of balance through people like him, through good souls like him, and what they're going to accomplish not only for themselves, but also bring that back into the society and create a ripple effect of peace, joy and happiness. This is Rahul Kapoor. I really truly hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I must also let you know, for those of you watching this, as my parting remark, this entire interview was done in one clear shot. There were no retakes. There was no preparation in terms of get this answer right, get that answer right. This was totally unedited version, live, raw, just the way we spoke. And that, I think, is the hallmark of this conversation coming in from this young boy. What a moment of joy it must be for him, his parents, his family, and his guru, and for all of us as Jains, as we have another young boy walking on the path of Jain Diksha to inspire himself internally and to inspire the rest of the world. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as I enjoyed bringing this to you. Thank you so much, and Chaitanendra.
It was fabulous having you all here. I would just say that please do attend my Diksha. Please do come to bless me on the path I am walking on 23rd of November in Bangalore. Please do come and bless me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.